Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning in to OpenDoors.la. I'm your writer and host, Ethan K. Cool, and today I'm joined with Castle. Castle, what's going on, Castle? Castle?
Just chilling.
Just chilling,
Quarantine. Yes.
quarantining, bro. That's an important thing, man. I know that a lot of people are like going back to school and stuff for the fall. I don't know what I think about that. I'm like, especially the
Yeah,
college kids, like that's
I'm
gotta
not sure about that either. All my classes are online this semester,
be.
so
Where are you going to school?
University of El Paso. University of Texas El Paso.
Okay. All right. So is this like is it on campus at all? Like do you go to campus for any of your classes or
Yeah, well
all
not yeah,
online?
but not all online this semester.
Okay, but you were in school last year, so like what a weird transition, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I was excited to go back quite strangely. Yeah.
I bet.
But it
I
is what it is.
bet. Yeah, man, it's crazy times you're living in. We're living in. How does that kind of like affect your music? At least, I'm sure you're so used to being surrounded by groups of people and like sharing ideas, and now you're like you're doing that, but it's a whole other ball game, right? It's like it's totally different.
Yeah. Well, honestly, it affects it in a positive way. I have all the time in the world to make music now. So
hmm hmm That's a
I
good way
got
to
nothing
spend
to
your
complain.
time. Yeah. That's a good way to spend your time, man. I'll tell you what. Yo, so let's talk about what I'm most excited about is this Brockhampton Sugar remix, bro. Listen, bro, Brockhampton, I've been such a huge fan of him for at least 2 years. Like ever since like his track just pulled up on my Spotify and he didn't have many listeners at the time and I just loved
Yeah.
his music. And so to hear what you did with that track, bro, that remix, I don't think that there's a lot of people out there that are able to mix a track the way that you did. So what kind of inspired that and why like that song specifically?
So basically, again, I was in quarantine,
Yeah.
bored. That song was stuck in my head because I spent most of my time on TikTok, and I don't know. I just decided to take like my own twist on the song, and it happened pretty naturally, actually. Like the whole process of like just ripping it apart and making something weird.
So what do you mean by that? It was just like a natural thing. Like, did you just sit down and then you were like, "Oh, this note, this note, this note," or like, what was that process like?
So, well, I just downloaded an acapella off YouTube, and then I looked up like the chords, and I just started like basically like building it like from scratch, but like my version of it. That's basically it.
Okay, so you weren't like actually mixing the music aspect of it, like in terms of the instruments. It was like all fresh, right?
Yes, yes,
That's cool. And I could tell that you like went through the song and you were like, "Oh, this is my favorite lyric right here. I'm gonna put that over
yeah,
here." And like the way you were connecting those dots, I was hearing all that because like when I tell you I listen to that song at least like 2 times a day. Like I listen to that song like 2 times a day. Yeah, and it's crazy that you
yeah.
said that TikTok had inspired that. Are you on TikTok a lot? I don't do a lot of TikToking, but
I watch a lot of TikTok, but I still haven't had the chance to make TikToks. But yeah,
a lot of musicians are using TikTok to like blow up their music, and I think that is
yeah.
such a beautiful thing,
Honestly, it
especially
really
because
is.
it's working. Have you thought about any like guerrilla marketing stunts you would kind of do to like do it? I
Yeah,
don't know, get any type of following on TikTok and like blow up your stuff
it's on the works.
on the work. Okay, so you have like a book of ideas or something that you kind of like when the time
Yeah,
comes, like we're gonna get this done. Is that kind of
yeah.
cool? I feel like I don't know if this is true, but if do you play video games?
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Warzone.
Or okay, so mostly like Call of Duty. That
Yeah,
when I think of like some of your music, I get this not so much of like the stuff that dated back 2 years. That was that was very vocal, that your music that you're making. But nowadays I don't know if like you're aware of it or not, but to me, your music really has this like video game feel to it. That like old Atari, almost nostalgia, like electronic sound. Do
okay.
you do you feel that at all? Is that, on
I
purpose or
I could see that, but it's definitely not on purpose. But I know where you're coming from, and I could agree with that. Yeah, there's like a lot of like the like ambient like I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about it though. It's that ambient sound that makes it feel virtual, right?
Yeah.
but not like a computerized synth. That's not. Yeah, I feel like that's the wrong way. But like specifically that sound, that ambient, right? That like virtual sounding thing, and I think that can be such a hard thing to capture. You know, is that
Yeah.
how are you capturing a sound like that, or like how is that coming to you?
It all just comes to me naturally, not to sound like,
Hmm.
but it just literally like I never like I like taught myself how to like produce and everything. Like I don't even know like there's like I have friends that like produce as well, and they all like I don't know how to say like they all like know what they're talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about. I just
Hmm.
make music. That's basically
But
it.
in terms of like the musical side, like you've been around music like your whole life, right?
Yeah,
I know that you grew up playing piano. Do you still play piano? Or are you tinkering with
I
any
do,
instruments?
but I don't. I haven't picked it up that much. Just like I just use like my MIDI keyboard, the just
Hmm.
basic chords and all that. But
Okay,
other,
okay. Are
yeah,
you experimenting with anything right now, whether that is like a different keyboard or maybe like a drum machine?
I picked up the acoustic guitar. I don't know how to play anything yet, but it's been
Really?
like 2 weeks. Yes.
Oh, that's cool, man. Where are you starting with that? Are you just like learning some basic chords?
Yeah, I'm looking up. Well, I'm just looking up like cover songs on like YouTube, trying
Mhm.
to go from there.
Can you read music?
No.
Mhm. So is it mostly by ear then? Or
Yeah.
like, okay, that's cool. What do you think, like, when it comes to making your music now? So we're kind of backtracking. When it comes to making your music, what is like the most common format in your music producing? I know like for like a lot of people they can use like a basic house music, which is like a 4x4 tempo, and it's easy to follow and it's easy to mix and work with, and then from there they kind of branch out and experiment. What is like your format? Again, like you said you work really naturally. I don't know if you're like structuring anything.
Yeah, I don't really structure anything, but for the most part, everything's 4x4, the time format. But yeah, everything's like naturally. I literally don't, I like go into the studio, don't have anything planned, just get there and just try to make something, whatever I'm feeling that day.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just that simple. I don't know.
That's good. Now you do sing though.
Nah,
You don't
that's my
sing?
that's my best friend, Roman Rouge.
Oh man, have you ever
Yeah,
tried singing or considered any type of vocal work?
yeah. I do have some like songs, like 1 or 2 songs. I have a side project
Mhm.
that I'm working on. There's 2 songs out somewhere in SoundCloud, deep, deep down in there. But on like as far as Castle, no, I
Okay,
don't sing.
not as far as Castle. I think you could. I would love to hear you sing a little bit. That is something I would love
Yeah,
to hear. So I don't know if you're working on anything now with Castle and kind of mixing that in, but I know that there's a few women that you've worked with, you know, on your music platform. They've brought some really great lyrics to some of
yeah.
Castle's music, and so either collaborating with them again or trying to like I don't know, work with them in a way where you can kind of add that flair. I think would be really dope. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I think that would be like pretty cool. Yeah.
So lastly, man, I mean, you got any music coming up? Coming out soon? What's the plan? Is it an
So
EP? Is it an album?
basically, I had a EP. It was like 90% done. And then I lost everything on my laptop.
No way.
Yeah, but I have like some songs are like I have like parts of some songs here and there. It's whatever. I already went through it and everything. So I'm just recreating some songs and then just making like new songs. But I do have this one song um coming out very soon with my homie Indays.
So what happened to your laptop? Was it like
I literally
just
don't know.
broke
Like
or stolen or?
no, I opened it just to like hop on the program, make some music, and all the files were like gone. I like tried to back it up. I mean, because I didn't have a backup like driver up until that
It's
that
like
day.
that
Now I have
changed
one.
that day. I went to Best Buy and yeah,
Yeah,
you know that
literally.
I went and got a hard drive and backed all my stuff up. That's
Yep.
crazy, bro. That is such a shame, man. Because
Yeah.
it's it's music and there's this story of this film that was filmed in like the 80s and they did it on 16 millimeter film, so like real film.
Yeah.
and the director loved like this first cut, and they were flying wherever they were shooting, somewhere in the United States, back to Los Angeles, to get the film developed and cut and ready. And I think this was in the 80s, and so flying, they had different rules and stuff. And so even though it's film, the people that were kind of working like the security for it, I don't know if they had like a really established TSA. They might, correct me if I'm wrong. But the people who were working at least the security for it, had to put it through the X-ray machine because it could have been, explosives or weapons or whatever. And the director was like, no, you can't put this film through the machine because it's it's an X-ray. You're going to totally ruin the footage. So they put it through anyway. It's like, if you want to get on this plane, we can try it and hope for the best. And like he had to be there. So he gave him the film. They put it through the machine. When he got to LA and they were in the lab and opened the box, and like they're in that dark room and they're getting ready to take a look at the images. They were all flashed white out.
Oh.
He lost his entire movie. And so what they ended up doing is, like, a couple months later, they went and they filmed that whole movie again. And the problem was it wasn't the same film twice. And so the director always kind of like looked down on himself because, man, like he never got to share or really create the thing that he created, So don't let that happen to your music, man. Totally. And that's for anybody listening. Like, that's just a real shame because, when you're trying to recreate something, I think you can pigeonhole yourself when you're trying to recreate, right? Versus like making something new or like working off that idea, but like you're trying to make the same thing twice. It'll never be the same thing twice. Are you facing that like with your music now of like, is that a challenge?
I am, but honestly, it's just
But sometimes it can be like a draft, right? It can sometimes be like you wrote this thing, you created this thing once, and then like going back and re-editing it can sometimes make a whole new song anyway. So maybe it's a great thing. I don't know if that's something you're finding or what.
Yeah, I feel like it just drove me to just make better than music than what I had, honestly. And I've like learned actually like some like cool stuff in the process of making this all over again. So honestly, like, might be a blessing in disguise. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, it probably is. Well, I'm super excited for the album. Thank you so much for joining me. For more information, make sure you check out his IG at CxstleCvstle, but there's an X and a V instead of the A. I've been your host, Ethan Cancula. Thanks so much. Peace.